On Sunday, 4th August 2024, there was major civil disorder in the Manvers area of Rotherham. The incident was part of wider national civil unrest fostered by a form of malignancy in society spread by malevolent users of social media. The disorder was racist of character and extremely frightening for anyone who was there. It was perpetrated by an ignorant mob of which you were both a part. There were two groups: those who supported people seeking refuge in this country. There were others who opposed that. This incident had nothing whatever to do with peaceful protest. You each participated in violent incidents which have cast a very ugly stain on this country. You were each part of a large group who were in the vicinity of an attack upon a hotel in which those seeking refuge were staying. The police were trying to protect those people and maintain order. You were part of the mob trying to prevent the police from doing their duty. I have little doubt that many decent people in Rotherham were badly affected by what occurred. There was violence and very threatening conduct towards police officers in particular. Those officers are deserving of high praise for the way in which they resisted provocation and handled an immensely challenging situation with skill and professionalism. I repeat, you were both part of this mob of ignorant and violent individuals. I make no apology for repeating yet again that it must be made clear that those participating in this form of violent disorder will be punished severely by the courts. It is the duty of the court to do what it can to protect the public. Two of the several statutory purposes of sentencing are the punishment of offenders and the protection of the public. Those two matters must be accentuated in a case of this kind. Deterrence is also of importance. The maximum sentence for violent disorder is 5 years. It is a matter for Parliament to decide whether that is in need of revision in the light of these recent events. The major disorder with which I am concerned occurred in the vicinity of the Holiday Inn Hotel in Rotherham on Sunday, 4th August 2024. Approximately 400 people descended upon the Manvers area of Rotherham. I have seen the video footage of the portions of the events in which you were each closely involved. It is clear that you were each part of a group mainly consisting of men of all ages, although there were some women present. Your conduct and their conduct was vile towards police officers. You were part of a group desirous of provoking police officers and spreading hate. It was an incident of major public disorder which has badly damaged the reputation of Rotherham and South Yorkshire generally. It would have, and doubtless did, terrify the ordinary decent citizens of that town, quite apart from those who were closely connected to this. I turn to the specific circumstances affecting you, Wragg, first. You were seen in the vicinity of the Holiday Inn Hotel, indeed immediately proximate to it, to pick up items which you threw at police officers who were trying to protect those inside the hotel. You threw these missiles at police officers. It is right to observe others were throwing chairs and a variety of other large items towards the police officers. In your case, Bolton, you came over from your home in Humberside in the Mercedes motorcar. You were a disqualified driver and you had no insurance. After the events, you stopped at a filling station and you boasted to staff that you were involved in the incident. You said to one police officer, quote, "Come here, you packy, finish it, unquote." A little later on, when you were continuing with your aggressive conduct towards police officers, and then a little later, quote, you packy bastard, unquote. And then, in order to provoke the officer, you said this, quote, "Me and you now," quote. And then a little later, quote, "1-on-1, I'll kill you," unquote. And yet further high-octane abuse was uttered towards the police officer when you were conducting yourself in an exceptionally aggressive manner. You said, quote, "I'll kill you." You were acting aggressively in the midst of other violent disorder that the officers were trying to quell. You went on, quote, "I'll kick you," unquote. And then your abuse continued, quote, "You bald, bent bastards," unquote. And finally, quote, "Finish it," unquote. You were encouraging the remainder of the crowd around and about you to indulge in violence. It is right to observe, however, that you did not actually strike any police officer. It was, however, very provocative conduct in the midst of mayhem. I turn to you, Wragg, first. You have pleaded guilty at the first reasonable opportunity. That is the most potent mitigation in this case. The sentence will be reduced by 1/3 as a consequence of your guilty plea in any event. I note your age. I note the fact also that you have no previous convictions. You have a young child, and I have read the letters that have been presented to the court. You have brought all of this misfortune upon yourself by your conduct. I have, however, come to the conclusion that it is necessary to keep a sense of proportion in your case. In the ordinary course of events, the appropriate sentence following a trial would have been one of 4 years detention. But given the personal mitigation, I propose to reduce that notional sentence to 3.5 years. It must then be reduced by reason of your guilty plea, which means a sentence of 2 years and 4 months in your case. That sentence of imprisonment will be imposed upon you. The necessary statutory charge will also obtain in your case. I turn now to you, Bolton. Your guilty plea at the first reasonable opportunity will reduce the sentence by 1/3 in any event. It has been argued on your behalf that you behaved with what was described as rank stupidity. You regret taking your 15-year-old boy to this event, albeit he stayed in the car. I have heard the argument that you profess no political views about migrants, and yet you travelled 50 miles to get involved in this. In your case, it is necessary to keep a sense of proportion, but you have relevant previous convictions. But it is right to observe, as I already have, that you did not actually strike an officer. Your violence was verbal. In my judgment, following a trial and endeavouring to keep a sense of proportion, even though I would be entitled to move upwards from the starting point, I propose to keep the notional sentence following a trial at 4 years. The only mitigation in your case is really the guilty plea. I have considered the fact that you are an employer of 4 individuals. There is a risk those individuals could lose their job, but I am told members of your family will endeavour to run the business. The sentence in your case is therefore one of 2 years and 8 months imprisonment. I make the deprivation order. The necessary statutory charge is imposed upon you. That sentence is in respect of violent disorder. In respect of the driving matters, there will be no separate penalty on each of those. I will, however, disqualify you from driving for a period of 3 years. You have relevant previous convictions for driving whilst disqualified. Before formally passing sentence upon you, I shall hear from counsel to check whether I have left anything out of account. I should add that the driving licence needs to be endorsed. Wragg, in your case, the sentence of the court is 2 years and 4 months imprisonment. The necessary statutory charge is imposed upon you. In your case, Bolton, the sentence of the court is in total one of 2 years and 8 months imprisonment. I make a deprivation order in respect of the Mercedes motor car. In respect of the driving matters, there will be no separate penalty, but your driving licence will be endorsed. I, however, disqualify you from driving for a primary period of 36 months, which is 3 years. The extension period is 16 months less 4 days, pursuant to the relevant statutory provisions. I impose upon each of you the necessary statutory charge. Take them down.